Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the announcement of Crest Autosport 2025. Thank you, everyone, for watching, tuning in to watch. Can see comments coming through. Thank you so much, guys. Really means a lot. And we're only 10 seconds in. Hope you enjoyed the soothing tunes in the background there. A little bit of an indicator of what is to expect, I suppose. But yeah, great music from WRC back in the day. And I thought, why not? Just chuck it in. Right, okay, so tonight we're announcing Crest Autosport's 2025 leagues. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. That's just the first kind of pre-warning. We've had a good think for the last 6 months about where we want to take Crest Autosport, and this includes our leagues outside of rallying as well. And yeah, we want to go in a different direction. We think a better direction. It's down to interpretation with you guys, but we'll see how we get on with it. So I guess the first things first is to get a little bit of an elephant out of the room, I suppose. What we're going to be announcing here is going to be a replacement of the World Sim Rally Championship and the Historic Sim Rally Championship. That's not a bad thing, but some decisions we've come up with has led to us rebranding, basically. We're still going to be Crest Autosport, but our league in Sim Rally is going to rebrand. And it's going to be a whole different kind of focus on how we run leagues going forward. So, yeah, this will be the last World Sim Rally Championship and Historic Sim Rally Championship that we host. For the time being, anyway. It's going to move into something new. That something new is going to be the Sim Rally Masters. That is what our league is going to be called from now on. And the whole ethos around the Sim Rally Masters is going to be a theme of be the champions of rally. This installment of our leagues into EA Sports WRC, hosted by Crest Autosport, it's going to be a range of leagues that are calling back to the greatest eras of rally. It's going to be from the nostalgia of the 90s and the 80s WRC to the excitement of modern day WRC, ERC, European Rally Championship, and British Rally Championship. We're basically just calling on rally as a whole around the world, and it's going to be very nostalgic, what we do going forward. It's going to be very cool, though. Become the champions, or be the champions of rally. Basically, Sim Rally drivers are going to be representing the greatest drivers of various different eras that we host, and essentially our drivers in our leagues are going to attempt to recreate history, essentially, and that'll make more sense as we lead on into this live stream here today. So that's the start of this. Is we're creating a brand new league, and it's going to be renamed into the Sim Rally Masters. So, without further ado, what's our first season going to be? Well, this is why we're here. This is what we're revealing. Is our first season. We're going to be hosting many Sim Rally Masters, hopefully into the long distance future. But essentially, our first season. This is actually the slide I was meant to show a minute ago. But yeah, our first season is going to be a callback to the golden era of rallying, and it's going to be a league that represents the 1997 to 2003 era of WRC, and that's going to combine itself with the British Rally Championship at the late 90s. We did similar to this in the Historic Sim Rally Championship earlier in the year, but we're going to do this again, and we're going to do it proper. We're going to do it real good. Trust me. So yeah, our first season is going to be centered around 1997 to 2003 WRC and BRC. So what does that mean for this championship? You know what we're hosting? Well, here are the cars that are going to feature. We'll get the basic things out of the way, like what you're going to be racing and what the events are going to be, and then we'll get into the real nitty-gritty of the features in the championship, because that's where the fine details are going to be. So, essentially, we're going to be using two classes for this inaugural season. And it's going to be the WRC 97 to 2011 class and the F2 kit cars. There's going to be limited cars to use within those categories. So in the WRC 97 to 2011 class, it's the cars that featured from 1997 to 2003, obviously, which include the Mitsubishi Lancer, made famous by Tommi Mäkinen, of course, the Peugeot 206. Most famous driver of that is Marcus Grönholm, but a lot of brilliant drivers drove that car. The Subaru Impreza 2001, of course, Richard Burns won the championship with that, and Petter Solberg's liveries incorporated into that. The Ford Focus 2001, Carlos Sainz, Colin McRae, Marco Martin, many great drivers. Citroen Xara, of course, during that era, it evolved from the kit car into the WRC, and that saw the emergence of Sebastian Loeb, and we wouldn't look back from that. The Subaru Impreza 1998, the older version of the WRC Impreza car. Of course, many drivers drove that, including Colin McRae, Piero Leati, Juha Kankkunen, I suppose, drove that iteration for a point. And the Seat Cordoba. Many drivers drove that car, like Harry Rovanperä, Didier Auriol, etc. And the F2 kit cars are going to be the callback to the British Rally Championship. So it's going to be all kit cars, excluding the Peugeot 306 Maxi. I think it's the 306. Yeah. I haven't got it right in front of me, so there's too many numbers for the Peugeot. But yeah, the Ford Escort, the Renault Megane Maxi, the Volkswagen Golf, the Vauxhall Astra, and the Seat Ibiza kit cars will feature in this championship. Okay, so that's the cars. What about the events we'll be racing on? We've put together a calendar that features probably the more populous events that came from that era of WRC. And of course, the kit cars are going to be racing in these events as well. Essentially, they're travelling out of the British Rally Championship and taking part in the World Rally Championship here. But yeah, we're going to start off in Monte Carlo. Where else is it going to start? And we're going to head over to Sweden for the round 2. Safari Rally hosts round 3. Portugal hosts round 4 of the championship. Spain for round 5. Argentina for round 6. Acropolis Rally will host round 7. New Zealand round 8. Thousand Lakes Finland Rally will host round 9. Corsica, the Rally of 10,000 Corners, will host round 10. San Remo will host round 11. Australia will host round 12. And, of course, Rally GB will host round 13 of the championship. It will use the in-game locations, and the main thing to point out here is we'll be using one location for each of these rallies. And of course, if there's events we're doing here that aren't in the game, we're going to be using alternative locations from the game to replicate those rallies effectively. Excuse me, just had to sort the webcam out a little bit there. So yeah, they're the events we're hosting, and you'll notice at the top there we've got some qualifiers to introduce the championship as well. I'll explain the format a little bit more of how qualifiers will work a bit later on, but we'll be using Sardinia and Croatia for them because they're neutral locations that we won't use in the calendar. So there we go. It's a very WRC calendar from that era, of course it is, and we'll be trying to replicate the events to a degree. So to kind of give away a little bit of thinking behind this is we'll be taking the most popular stages of those rallies and trying to kind of emulate them in the game, so to speak. So we kind of do that now to a degree, but yeah, how the rally will be formatted, we'll let you know that a little bit later on. So that's the events. So now into more of the specifics. This might split the crowd a little bit, but we've done this for reasons. Please understand that, and please don't come after us. There's going to be 2 classes that compete in this championship, the first season of Sim Rally Masters. So obviously we know that the WRC 97 to 11 category is one class and the F2 kit cars is another class. Class 1 of the WRC will be for PC gamers only. Now there's a reason for that, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. The F2 kit cars will be exclusively for console gamers only. There's maximum capacity that will allow it to compete in this league. So the maximum capacity for WRC that we will allow will be a total of 84 drivers, and the maximum capacity for the F2 kit cars will be a total of 40 drivers. So the maximum capacity overall will be 124 drivers competing in this league. I'm going to explain more of the reasoning behind that a little bit later on. But like WRC, what we are going to do with the two classes is we are going to combine them. So there are rallies, tarmac, effectively, where the F2 kit cars are going to compete with the WRC cars. We can hope they will anyway, and we think they will. So, yeah, there will be a combined championship for those two classes, but we'll also score the F2 kit cars in their own championship as well, so we can kind of keep them exclusive as well and crown a British Rally champion effectively. Along with this, each class will be split into 4 categories, rather like what we do now with the World Sim Rally Championship. So we have CA1, CA2, CA3 and CA4. We're going to be doing similar with each of these classes. So underneath Class 1 WRC, there's going to be a category for the top tier Sim Rally drivers, the middle tier Sim Rally drivers, and the lesser experienced drivers. And exactly the same with Class 2 for the F2 kit cars. So I've crammed some information into your brains at the moment. So we'll just have a little bit of a rest here for a sec. So the main thing to highlight is we're rebranding the league. We're using WRC cars from 97 to 2003 and kit cars from that period, and our calendar is going to be very, very representative of WRC back in the era. So very exciting, but we're going to get into more of the finer details now, because at the moment it's like, okay, you're doing these events, these cars, so what? Well, there's more to this league than meets the eye, trust me. It's going to be very, very cool. So let's get into it then. So what we're going to be doing with this championship, now you don't have to read the text on the screen if you don't want to. I'll basically communicate it to you. So what we'll effectively be doing is in these championships, we'll be allocating the Sim Rally drivers to represent a real life driver in the championship. And those drivers are going to be using the replicas of the real-life liveries that those drivers in those cars had driven. That's what we mean by be the champions of rally. Effectively, you guys are going to become the stars of rallying in the era we represent. You could be using their livery, you could be using their car. So you may become Tommy Mäkinen, you may become Colin McRae, you might become Petter Solberg. You will be acting as those drivers from the era. And I think an important thing to mention here is this is not the only era we're going to cover in the Sim Rally Masters. We have plans for future seasons where we're going to be looking at the 80s, for example, or maybe the early 90s. We might even call upon modern WRC at some point. And we're going to look at other championships in rallying as well. So it's not just going to be 1997 to 2003. We're going to be looking at lots of different eras. But for now, we'll focus on 97 to 2003. That's the first season we're doing. Okay, and the second point in here, we will be using a ranking system to sort the real-life drivers from best to least based on a point system that scores them for their performances in WRC. So what we mean by that is, because we're assigning you to drivers, what we want is the drivers who are going to be assigned to the top drivers. Let's just take Tommy Mäkinen, for example. The best driver in the Sim Rally environment is going to be the best drivers in the real-life environment. And that's how that's going to work. We'll go through more details about how that point system works later on. But yeah, that's what we've done. We've evaluated the drivers from the era and put basically the best 20 into the table of drivers you'll represent. Yeah, so that's kind of what we were mentioning. The best sim rally drivers would be put on to represent the best real life drivers, and the way we'll be doing that is we'll be using the World Sim Rally Championship as kind of a benchmark for what our drivers entered into this league are capable of. Okay, so moving on, what else have we got in for you? Okay, so the basic details of how this championship is going to be run. It's in 2025, so it's a long time away, so plenty of time to kind of prepare yourself and that sort of thing. And I'll get the dates of the calendar back on the screen later on. But our rallies for the Sim Rally Masters are going to be run on same days and same total duration as our current World Sim Rally Championship rallies. It's going to start on Thursdays at midnight, and it's going to end on Monday midnight. And that's all based on UK time zone, of course. Each event is going to use 2 club servers, so our Class 1 WRC drivers will use Club 1, and our F2 Kitcar console drivers will drive Club 2. Our rallies should take approximately 1 hour to 2 hours to complete. I reckon some rallies will end up being shorter than an hour, and I can't really see many rallies actually going over an hour and a half. Actually, bit of feedback we've received of our current league is some rallies are just too long, and we feel that as well. So we're bringing the length of the rallies down so they're more fun, I suppose. But that doesn't mean they're going to be any easier. So just beware about that. You know what they're like. With that being said, each rally will contain between 8 and 10 stages. So some rallies will be 8 stages, some rallies will be 9 stages, some rallies will be 10 stages. And these rallies will range in-game. They'll range anything from as little as 50 kilometers to as much as 170 kilometers. We're going to have some sprint rallies, and we're going to have some endurance rallies. Okay, so next up. All right, here we go. This is the good stuff. Right, again, you don't have to read this information on the screen. I'll communicate it to you if you want to. But point 1 up there, very brief. Hardcore damage is going to be introduced for this championship, but only for some of the events. So the reason we're going to do that is because there's some rallies that are reputational, I suppose, for being harder on the cars than other rallies. So there will be some rallies in the championship. Let's just take Safari, for example. That's going to have hardcore damage. We're going to try and simulate the difficulty of the rallies by switching hardcore damage on or off for certain events. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 in here, for select rallies, we're going to be implementing a roadside repair system or format, if you want. So the thinking behind that is each stage, and this is going to be for most rallies, every stage is going to have a short service, bar a few where they're going to have long services because they're actual services. But what we're trying to do with the short service idea is effectively you guys are going to be conducting roadside repairs. So you have just enough time to conduct some quick fixes to your car and get back out on the stages. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to open it up so drivers can, fix a tyre on the side of the road, that sort of thing, before heading into the next stage. And the other advantage of this is actually it's going to open up some alternative tyre strategies for rallies. So whereas our rallies here will be 8 to 10 stages, it means it's going to be about 3 services. So 3 tyre sets, it's going to be quite easy to pick your tyres on that. When there's short stages on every short services on every stage, it means that tyre strategies will vary from driver to driver, and we're looking forward to seeing that. We're looking forward to seeing what that will shake up in the event standings when we come to hosting this. So there we go. Roadside repairs is another feature to this championship. Feature number 3 here is we're going to be implementing a handicap system. And the reason we're going to be doing that is we're going to be trying to replicate road sweeping in a certain way. So on certain services, when you're driving in real life rally, if you're starting first on the road, you're going to struggle compared to the other drivers because you're sweeping away the roads effectively. on certain rallies and certain surfaces, what we're going to be doing is implementing like a handicap time to drivers based on where they would be starting on the road. So it would be based on drivers' championship standings heading into the event, and it's only going to affect the first leg of the rally. So it might be the first 3 or 4 stages of the rally. So effectively, we're going to add time to your stage times based on the distance you've covered, and based on where you are in the championship standings. So it could be that some rallies is going to be a detriment to you starting first on the road. Some rallies it might benefit you being first on the road. It just depends on the road surface and the weather of the rally. So we're really looking forward to this. This was Mika's idea, so credit to Mika Salonen. Brilliant idea, I think. We're really excited to do this. We don't see many other leagues doing this, actually, so we're excited to be bringing this to our league. So there we go. Nice basic thing next. Points. Excuse me. The point system. So we had a little bit of toing and froing about this one. We were thinking, well, why don't we just use the point system from 1997 until 2002, which was which was the 10, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. The top 6 positions scored points. And we just kind of thought, well, the fact that we're probably going to have 31 drivers competing in each category for this championship, it'd be fairer to extend the point system a little bit, so drivers further down the order do score points. We're keeping that element carried over from the World Sim Rally Championship, I suppose. But what we have done is, you'll notice when you go from 6 to 7, there's quite a big leap. So what we've tried to do with this is, just like real life, where finishing in the top 6 is really beneficial to yours and your manufacturer's championship, we're doing it in such a way here that is very advantageous, getting itself into the top 6 in the event standings. And we'll be doing a separate point system for the F2 kit cars on the side, just so we can see their actual championship standings. And that will be same as the old Formula 1 point system, the old WRC point system, where the top 6 score points. Okay, so a little bit about drivers and liveries now. So we mentioned a while ago, a couple of minutes ago, where drivers will be representing certain drivers in this championship. You'll be representing the real life drivers from those eras, becoming the champions, becoming the rally drivers. The way that's going to work visually in this championship is within Class 1 WRC for PC gamers. Each driver will be assigned a car and livery via a real-life driver that they're representing throughout the season. So effectively, if I become Colin McRae, I'm going to drive Colin McRae's car and livery. Same if someone else is Tommy Mäkinen, they'll drive Tommy Mäkinen's car and livery. Whereas in the Class 2, the F2 kit cars console gamers, they will represent a driver, but they're going to be using the in-game default liveries to represent those drivers, because they're fairly close to what they raced in British Rally Championship back then anyway. But this is ultimately the reason why console gamers are in the kit cars and PC gamers are in the WRC class. It's because we want to bring liveries into the championship, and there's so many talented people who've made liveries, real replica liveries for the game, and we want to kind of recognize that by using them. The drivers will be instructed to use the liveries they are given by us admins. You won't be permitted to change your liveries during the season. You will have to stick to the car you're driving and the livery you're driving. You can change the livery of your car if there are other liveries representing that driver, but it has to have alignment with the rest of the team. And you have to have permission from us to use them, of course. Okay, so that's the drivers and liveries. So we mentioned we are placing the drivers into a ranking system where the real-life drivers are seeded into specific ranks, and then the Sim Rally drivers will be allocated to them based on their seedings. We're doing this with a point system that we've done on the side to do this, and we'll reveal what the drivers' seedings are very, very shortly. Actually, we're going to reveal that tonight. But effectively, the real-life drivers rank among the list. We've applied points to those drivers based on the championships they've won, their rally wins, the rally podiums they've scored, top sixes, and in WRC, it would be championships they've had pre or post 97 to 2003. So for scoring a championship in WRC, if you've scored a championship from 1997 to 2003, that driver will get 100 points. For a podium, for a win, it's 10 points. For a podium, it's 3 points. For a 4th, 5th, or 6th placing, it's 1 point. And championships outside of the era is 20 points. And those points are totaled, and then they're basically ranked from best to least best, I suppose. So yeah, that's how that works. So without further ado, we're going to go through the drivers that have been ranked for this. There is another ranking system for the British Rally Championship F2 kit cars, and we'll do that in a short while as well. They've been done in a very similar way to WRC here. So, without further ado, let's go through the drivers. So there's 21 drivers that are going to be represented in the WRC category. Of course, we said there's going to be a total of 84 drivers, and they're going to be split into 4 categories. And so there's 21 drivers that will be represented in each category. So effectively, there's going to be 4 Tommy Mackinnons, 4 Colin McRae's, 4 Carlos Sainz. I think you get the idea. Okay, so the first driver, rank number 21. It's a little bit of a wild card one, but number 21 is going to be Alistair McRae in a Subaru Impreza painted as a Hyundai accent. Now, I found this is a bit of a joke one, this is, right? But yeah, the reason I've put this in is because I found this livery online. I thought, that is so cool. I laughed my head off, but it's the first 5-door Hyundai accent I've seen. But yeah, Alistair McRae is our 21st driver. Didn't really have a glamorous WRC career here, actually. His British Rally Championship career was a bit more enlightening, I suppose. But he didn't have any podiums. He didn't have any first place finishes, obviously. He didn't do many rallies. But he did finish in the top 6 4 times. So as a result, Alistair McRae on our list scores 4 points in our ranking system to be ranked number 21. Moving on. Number 20 in our list is going to be Bruno Thierry. Bruno Thierry had a lot of bad luck. He really struggled when he was driving the Ford Escort once upon a time. But he did drive the Subaru Impreza. But within the 97 to 2003 period, he did get 1 top 3 finish. And he got 7 top 6 placings. And that gives him a total points of 10. So yeah, that's the livery you'll be using if you are representing Bruno Thierry. Moving on to number 19 on our list, it's Tony Gardemeister, who's number 19. Tony Gardemeister didn't really take off, actually, in the WRC until he started driving the Ford Focus mid-2000s onwards, where he scored some wins. But within this period, this is what we based the points on, is 97 to 2003. He got 1 podium, and he got 8 top 6 finishes. And in the Seat, I think that's where we actually got his podium, so very appropriate. Yeah, Tony Gardemeister, 11 points. He is our number 19 seeded driver. Number 18 on our list is our first rally winner of the list, Jesus Perez. 1 rally win, and that was 2001 at Corsica. It was a very emotional victory. He was in floods of tears when he came to the line because he really struggled to get a win in WRC for years prior, and he finally got it. But yeah, in WRC, he had a win to his name. He had a top 3 as well, and he finished in the top 6 separately once as well. And that gives him a total of 14 points to be ranked 18 in our list. Number 17 is going to be Thomas Radstrom. I'll point out that this isn't his livery. Our livery's being made by someone on the side. It's not ready yet. So by the time the season starts, a Thomas Radstrom livery will be available for the championship. But whoever's rank number 17 will be representing Thomas Radstrom. He had 3 podiums, and separately he had 6 top 6 placings. I'm fairly sure all his podiums came at Rally Sweden, actually. He was very good at Rally Sweden, of course being basically a home rally for him, Scandinavian driver. 15 points he scored in our point system as a result. But yeah, Thomas Radstrom is our 17th ranked driver. It will be the 2001 livery of the Mitsubishi Lancer you'll be using to represent Thomas Radstrom. Number 16 in our list, and sticking with Mitsubishi, it's going to be Freddie Loix, our number 16th driver. Freddie Loix. He loved to crash, didn't he? If you remember rightly. The amount of cars he wrecked, and it's partially because of him that Mitsubishi was sponsored by Marlboro. But yeah, he didn't have the most glamorous of careers. He had a crash at Safari in, I think it was 1999, and he never really drove the same way after that. He showed real promise driving a Corolla in his introduction to WRC. But in WRC, he managed to get 3 podiums, and exclusively, he finished 4th, 5th, and 6th, a total of 17 times. So he gets himself a points total of 26 in our point system to rank himself 16. Moving on to number 15, and we're back to the rally winners of our list. This is Filip Bogowski, who will be our 15th ranked driver. 2 rally wins, both of them in 1999, Spain and Corsica. And they were in kit cars, so yeah, quite impressive actually from Bogowski, considering he didn't have a win in WRC actually. 27 points is the total points he gets from our ranking system, and that's from his 2 wins, 1 podium, and 4 top 6 placings. But yeah, Filip Bogowski, one of the few drivers that are no longer with us, unfortunately, which is a big shame. So whoever represents Filip Bogowski, do him proud. Moving on to number 14 in our list, and it is Francois Delacour in the Peugeot 206. No rally wins within this period. He did have a lot of rally wins before this period, though. But he had 6 podium finishes and 11 4th, 5th, and 6th place finishes, which gets him a points total of 29. Just 2 points more than Filip Bogowski. But Francois Delacour, yeah, I love this 1999 livery, the white with the blue Peugeot logo on it. I absolutely love that livery. But there is also the silver livery available as well from 2000, if drivers should want to pick that instead. But Francois Delacour, yeah, he was quite an angry man, wasn't he? Nearly had a fight with Gilles Panizzi in 2000. And he was always very shouty in the car driving, wasn't he? If you watch some clips of him, you'll know what I mean. But yeah, number 14 on our list is the Frenchman Francois Delacour. Number 13. This might surprise people a little bit, but Pierre Eliatti. Pierre Eliatti holds the record for the first official WRC win, technically. So when they brought in the WRC spec cars for the first time, excuse me, he won the Monte Carlo Rally in 1997, which was the first time WRC spec cars were brought in. He won the rally, so he will forever hold that record. But that win was his only win in WRC, actually. Other than that, he scored 4 top 3 placings, 8 top 6s, and that gives him a points total of 30 points, which is just 1 more than Francois Delacour. So Pierre Eliatti is number 13 on our list. Moving on to number 12. This one surprised me of how high Marco Martin got on this list. But Marco Martin, number 12 on this list. In 2003, he won 2 rallies. He won Greece and Finland. But but what got Marco Martin so many points is he finished in the top 6 of rallies, excluding third and second place finishes. He finished in the top 6 15 times, and he only really started properly rallying in the WRC in 2001. He started off in the Subaru, and then he moved over to the Ford Focus in 2002. So he scored big points on that, pretty much. 44 points he scored himself in our system, and he's ranked number 12. Moving on to number 11, Harry Rovanperä. One rally win to his name, and that was in 2001 at Sweden. And that was in the Peugeot, granted, but he did drive the Seat in the year before in quite a lot of rallies in the year 2000. I think he may have driven it in 1999 as well. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, one rally win, 11 top 3 finishes, and 13 top 6 finishes. So he, in the 2000s, he was there. He was knocking on the door of rally wins quite a lot, actually. He's a little bit underrated from that period. But, yeah, within our system, he scores 56 points to rank himself 11th. Our top 10 now. Excuse me. So our first in our top 10 then. The top 10 drivers of this era, according to our point system. Gilles Panizzi, the tarmac king of the time. Yeah, we'll be using his 1999 livery. Ranked 10 on the list. He won 7 rallies in this era. All were on tarmac. Outside of that, he scored 6 top 3 placings and 7 top 6 placings. And that gives him a points total of 95. But yeah, all of his rallies were tarmac wins. He won at France twice, Italy 3 times, and Spain twice in that period. Very talented driver was Gilles Panizzi. It's a shame he never really... when he started doing full seasons, Peugeot had... excuse me. Peugeot had kind of filtered out of the championship. Excuse me. Right. Yeah, Gilles Panizzi, number 10 on our list. Moving on. Number 9 is Didier Auriol. He drove a lot of cars in his WRC career, to be fair. Sorry. Right, okay. Voice is breaking because I'm chatting so much rubbish. Yeah, he had 3 rally wins within this era. Haven't got any water, Duarte. Stupidly didn't bring any, so sorry about that. Yeah, 3 rally wins within this period. They were 1999 at Spain and China, and 2001 at Spain. So he may have got his wins in the Corolla and the Peugeot, but he's going to be using the Seat in this championship. He's been brought back to the Seat team. Yeah, 3 rally wins, 14 top 3s, and 10 top 6 finishes. Total points of 102 for our system. And that ranks him number 9. Rank number 8. We're getting into the big guns now. Juha Kankkunen will be our 8th seeded driver in the Subaru. 2 rally wins within this period, which is hard to believe because he has... well, at the time, he was one of the most decorated drivers in WRC. Of course, he won 4 championships as well outside of this period. But he was getting on a little bit in this stage of his career. But he still was hitting points and getting some wins. Those 2 wins came in 1999 at Argentina and Finland. But I suppose what helps Kankkunen get high up on this list is because of his 4 championships outside of the era, and that's why we've included them, is because they are fairly significant. But yeah, outside the 2 wins, he had 18 top 3s, 11 top 6s, and that got him a points total of 165, so 63 points more than Didier Auriol, so it's really getting high up now for these drivers. So Juha Kankkunen is number 8 on our list. Number 7 on our list, Petter Solberg, and the first of our drivers to actually have a championship within this era. Number 7 on our list. Petter Solberg, Mr. Hollywood himself. 5 rally wins within this period. His first one coming in 2002 at Rally GB. 8 top 3 finishes and 15 top 6 placings. Gets him a points total of 189. Of course, he was the champion in 2003, so that gives him big points for this. 189 points he ended up scoring, to be ranked 7 on our list. Moving on to number 6. It's the GOAT, Sebastian Loeb. Little did we know at the time what would become of Sebastian Loeb within the WRC. And I guess part of the reason why he's so high up on this list is because of his 9 World Championships outside of this period. But yeah, until then, throughout 2002 and 2003, he got himself 4 rally wins. All of them were on tarmac. He had San Remo, Germany, Monty, Germany, San Remo. So actually, I think it's 5 rally wins. So yeah, I think it's 5 rally wins. And 5 top 3 placings and 3 top 6 placings. And considering he didn't do many events in the championship back then. He did a full-time season in 2003, but only part-time really in 2002. So that's a good record considering he only did just over 20 rallies actually. So that puts Sebastian Loeb a very strong 6th place on our list. The prodigy of this league, which is weird to say. Right, okay, we're going into the top 5 now. You can probably guess who the top 5 are, really, but what order are they in? Number 5th on our list, El Matador, Carlos Sainz, Sr., and he'll be in the Ford Focus 2001. Of course, he won 2 championships outside the period. Could be argued that Carlos Sainz really could have won 4, even 5 championships. He so nearly won in 1998, and he was challenging for the championship in 2001 into the final rally and 2003. So really, Carlos Sainz could have ended up with 5 world championships if luck had gone his way a little bit more. But Carlos Sainz, he only actually won 7 rallies within this 7-year period. So really not a lot, actually, considering he's the legend that he is. But what gets Carlos Sainz so many points on this list is 37 top 3 finishes throughout those 7 years, which is the most on our list. Huge amount. Elsewhere, other than that, 21 top 6 finishes, and it gets him a points total of 242. Only 2 points less than our next driver on this list. But rank 5 is number 4, Carlos Sainz. Number 4, everyone's favourite driver, let's be honest, Colin McRae. Now some would be like, Colin McRae's better than the 4th on this list, but the point system doesn't lie, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't lie. I guess what lets Colin McRae down a little bit is the no championships compared to the top 3 in our list. He did have 1 championship in 95, which accounted some points to this system, but 17 rally wins, 11 top 3s, and 21 top 6 placings gets him a points total of 244. As we said, only 2 more than Carlos Sainz. So whoever's ranked 4 in our list will represent Colin McRae. Into our top 3 now. Richard Burns is 3rd on this list. Now, people say, Colin McRae's better than Richard Burns. But Richard Burns did get a championship in 2001. He got himself 10 rally wins during this period. 23 top 3 placings, which is the 2nd most of our driver list. And 21 top 6s. 290 points he ended up getting, which is 46 more than Colin McRae. So, that's Richard Burns at rank number 3. Number 2 on our list, Marcus Grönholm. And we'll be using the silver chrome style livery from which he won the championship in 2000. But 2 championship wins, 2000 and 2002 for Marcus Grönholm. And considering 2000 was his first full-time season, what an impressive introduction to the championship for Marcus Grönholm. 15 rally wins to his name within this... for him, really, 7-year period, because he did some rallies before 2000, of course. 15 rally wins, 9 top 3s, 13 top 6 placings, gets him a points total of 390, 100 more than Richard Burns. Of course, the championships that help him out there, mostly. So, Marcus Grönholm is our number 2 driver, which means there's only 1 left. The number 1 driver, rank number 1, will be Tommy Mäkinen. 3 championship wins within this period, and 1 outside of the period, which, to be fair, was right before the period in 1996. So 4 championships, Tommy Mackinnon. 18 rally wins, the most of any driver within this listing. 19 top 3s and 15 top 6s. Gets him a points total of 572, which is 188 more, I think. Yeah, 188 more than Marcus Grönholm. So he dominates this, really, when it comes to our point system here. So whoever's our number 1 ranked driver entered into the series within each category, of course, will represent Tommy Mackinnon. So there we go. Took a while, but we got through our list, and there's a little recap of it from 21 drivers up to number 1. We've done the same with British Rally Championship. Now, I'll go through this a little bit quicker, but essentially, we'll start from number 10. You now know what number 1 is. But essentially, we're going to be doing the same with the British Rally Championship F2 kit cars. So if you're rank number 10 in here is Barbara Armstrong. I know it says Ford Escort there. That's meant to say Seat Ibiza. But you'll be representing Barbara Armstrong if you're rank number 10. If you're number 9, you'll be representing Stephanie Simonite in the Ford Escort. Robbie Head will be rank number 8 in this list in the Seat Ibiza. Number 7 will be Neil Weirden in the Vauxhall Astra. Still in the Vauxhall Astra, number 6 on our list is Jarmo Kaitaleto. He did quite a few WRC rallies as well, did Jarmo. Top 5 in our list. Number 5 is Taupio Laakkonen in the Renault Megane Maxi. And now double Volkswagen Golf drivers here. Mark Higgins will be number 4 on our list. We've got a repeat Alistair McRae here, so we'll have a clone of Alistair McRae here. Number 3 in our list. Martin Rowe would be number 2. And Gwyndaf Evans number 1. So that will be the F2 kit cars category, represented by the console drivers. And they've used a point system fairly identical to WRC, where we've counted championships, wins, top 3s and top 6s. But what we've also taken into consideration is when these drivers have finished in the top 3 of the championship, rather than championships outside of the era. And the years we've counted are from 1995 until 1999, because that's when the F2 kit cars were prime competition in the British Rally Championship. So there we go. They are the drivers that will be represented in this championship. There's 31 drivers, and of course that gets multiplied by 4 to become a grand total of 124 drivers. We've got a few more things to announce for this championship, and we'll just have a little bit of a recap. Duarte, I'll come to your comment a little bit later on. Might answer it a little bit later on, I think. Might be able to answer it for you. But yeah, so for this championship, there's a few things to consider. So season by season, we're going to be replicating different eras, but the whole thing is going to be that you're representing different drivers. But what we'll also be bringing into this championship, which we haven't really done in Crest Autosport, is we're going to be promoting drivers from lower categories into higher categories, but also relegating drivers from higher categories into lower categories. A bit like how football leagues kind of work, where it's going to be drivers who finish in a certain position will drop down or promote. So the way it will be is based on a certain percentage of the field that finished the season, a certain number of drivers will promote or relegate into other categories. So that's what we're bringing in for the Sim Rally Masters, promotion and relegation. What we are also... Oh, yeah, this is to explain it. Sorry, I forgot about this bit. Yeah, so this is what I'm mentioning. Certain amount of drivers finishing the season will affect how many drivers get promoted or relegated. So if 18 to 21 drivers in Class 1 finish the season, 3 drivers will be promoted or relegated. If there's a bit less than that, so 15 to 17 drivers complete the season, 2 drivers will be relegated or promoted. And if there's 12 to 14 drivers, which I don't anticipate, 1 driver will be promoted and relegated from each category. So, yeah, there we go. And in Class 2, because it's a small field, 10 drivers, 9 to 10 drivers complete, 2 drivers get relegated or promoted, 7 to 8 drivers, 1 driver be relegated or promoted. And we mentioned when we went through the events for this championship that there's going to be qualifiers for this championship. Again, you don't have to read the information on the screen, I'll explain it to you. So effectively, if you are already actively competing in Crest Autosport and you decide, I'm going to sign up to this championship when we open the registrations later on in the year, people who are actively competing in Crest Autosport leagues already will be automatically into the championship. You will not have to compete in the qualifiers. The qualifiers is going to be specifically for drivers who are either not active in Crest Autosport or are brand new. The reason we're doing this is because we need to place you in a category. So we need to see you in the qualifiers to see where your pace is. But also the qualifiers is a bit of a test to see if you can attend the events. So it's a little bit of a tester for that. So there we go. That's what the purpose of the qualifiers. Just to reiterate there, if you are already an active member of Crest Autosport, the qualifiers are less applicable to you. You can take part in the qualifying rallies if you want to get some practice in, but it's not mandatory, effectively. So there we go. That's all the information I've had to throw at you. So it's quite a lot, I realise that. But what you can do later on in the week or later on down the line, months down the line, is you can come back to this live stream to watch it again if you need to. But yeah, all the information will be on a document that we'll be releasing onto our Facebook group and our Discord after this live stream. But yeah, just a little bit of a kind of retrospect or recap. We'll be using the WRC class of 1997 to 2011, only selected cars from that. And we'll also be using the F2 kit cars. And the events will follow the WRC calendar as a replication of the WRC calendar. So the events there, just to kind of mention that, will be running it a little bit differently to World Sim Rally Championship. So you'll notice rounds 1 and 2 are on back-to-back weeks. But in between round 2 and 3 will be a week off. But then it goes back to back. So we'll have 3 rally weeks, week off. Sorry, start again. 2 rally weeks, week off. 2 rally weeks, week off. 2 rally weeks, and so on and so on. It's going to be a 13-round calendar, and it will take us from January up until May. So it's going to span 5 months, effectively. Oh, we've just had a subscriber. So Borat's giving us a high five. Subscriber on Twitch. I thought I disabled that, so sorry about that. If you managed to catch that. Oh, dear. Borat always comes up at the worst of times, doesn't he? Right, so I'm going to open the floor to questions, actually. Because I realise I've crammed a lot of information in your faces, to be honest. So if you have questions, let me know. So first of all, Duarte, I'll answer your question. You just said mixed teams or no teams. So for season 1, if you are a real life sim racing team, then no, your teams will not be represented in this. You'll be put with other drivers for this championship, and the reason is because you're using liveries from real life drivers. It's no real representation of teams. You and your team's drivers can enter events and you can advertise them on your pages, on your websites, etc., when you do compete in the rallies. But for this one, it will be your teammate is whoever's in your manufacturer. But there will be other championships we do where you'll be able to form teams. So season 2 might end up being a championship where you can have your real life sim race rally team in the championship. But for this one, it's going to be whoever you share the car with will be your teammate. Yeah. See if there's any more questions here. Not at the moment, but yeah, fire them away in the comments if you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I realise this is quite different. I do realise that, but me, Mika, and Marco have been working on this for quite a few months now, and we're really, really excited about it. We've I've kind of wanted to do something like this for quite a while, but we've been we've been trying to achieve our World Sim Rally Championship fulfillment, I suppose, for quite a long time, and I feel now is the right time to be moving on to that. EA Sports WRC works a little bit differently to Dirt Rally 2, actually. It's there's actually more opportunity to try different things with EA Sports WRC, so it's a perfect opportunity for us to do that. And we're calling back to the golden era of WRC for this one. But other seasons that we're going to be hosting, I'll reveal a little bit of what we will be, what we could end up doing in the future. We're definitely going to do a WRC 80, so Group B. We're definitely going to do that, similar to this kind of format in the future. So if you're a Group B fan, that's going to be right up your streets. We're going to look at replicating championships like the British Rally Championship. We've kind of done that here, but we're going to do one exclusively for the British Rally Championship one day. And the same for the European Rally Championship. We're also going to look at maybe the Group A era of WRC, so 80s to 90s. And we'll also look at modern WRC as well in the future. So there's a lot of seasons. And to be honest, the amount of seasons we've kind of got in the pipeline, it's going to take us 4 years to do them all. So it's going to be a bit of a... Well, we'll ask you guys in time, what do you want to do next of our choices. But, yeah, so plenty to be excited about when it comes to the themes of the championship. Opening batsman, that's Sam, I believe. Forgive me if I missed it. But when are we going to get our driver car allocation? Good question. Yes, I didn't actually say that. So it'll be it'll be at the end of the World Sim Rally Championship season. So once we finish the final round, that'll be the seedings for the Sim Rally Masters. And of course, it'll also be based on what drivers sign up that come over. But yeah, that's how it's going to work. It's going to end up being based on the World Sim Rally Championship, but the Historic Sim Rally Championship is going to be considered, particularly if they're drivers that have taken part in only the Historic Sim Rally Championship and World Sim Rally Championship. We'll kind of use a benchmarking system to put the historic drivers into the World Sim Rally Championships. Toolmaker, that's Sammy and Duarte. Yep, I do. We do realise what we've done to you console drivers, yes. But remember, you're going to be combined in with these WRC drivers, and there's going to be other championships along the line that will put you in the top machinery with everyone else. But we are doing this to showcase some real hard-working people who've created liveries. Not only they're online, available for public use, but also some a livery designer is helping us make liveries for this championship. So that's the reason for that. But equally, I think the Kit Cars Championship is going to be very, very exciting for you guys, actually. Okie dokie. Dennis, will there be any stream rule demanding championship to serve livery no more? Yeah, good question. So there's something in the rules and regulations and information document we'll be putting out. But streaming's not mandatory, but it is highly recommended. And the reason it's highly recommended is because we want you to show off the liveries you're using, but also it credits the livery creator. And one of the kind of rules that we'll explain in the rule book is you have to credit in some way. You either put it in the description of your video or you put it as a visual on your live stream. You have to credit the person who's created the livery. We'll obviously help you out with that information, but that is the bit of the requirement behind that. So yeah, streaming's not mandatory, but streaming is really encouraged, because what we want to try and do with this championship actually is streaming for us will be key for this championship. Eventually we'll be getting to a point where we'll be, in future seasons, we'll be either making streaming mandatory for all our competitors. Also, we are looking into options where we're going to live broadcast leagues. That's excuse me, that's our roadmap. Effectively, we want to get to a point where we can make this a live league. So we'll start here. We're gonna bed it in slowly but easily. But that is our dream, really, is for it to become almost a televised league. That is our dream. Simply, I assume you mean team is dormant for now. I mean your Iron Mustangs team. Be good to see them back. Yeah. But here we go. Right, okay. I think we're going to wrap up now, ladies and gentlemen. I've kept you here for an hour and 18 minutes. First of all, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for supporting the championship. We've been doing this since 2016. Or was it 2017? 2016. So a very, very long time we've been doing this, and we intend to keep going into the future. We've had some rocky years along the way, we really have, but we feel that we're on a good one with the Sim Rally Masters here. So keep an eye on our Discord, keep an eye on our Facebook group, keep an eye on our Facebook page, also keep an eye on YouTube and Twitch, because we're going to do more streams, we're going to do more videos. I'm looking into doing some rally specific content soon, becoming a bit of a content creator. I'm looking into doing that a little bit, so I'll be doing that on both Twitch and YouTube. But yeah, Sim Rally Masters, that's our next route for Crest Autosport. So far, it's been an absolute pleasure. Huge thank you to Mika Salonen and Marco, our admins behind the scene. Them guys have helped and been integral to putting this together. So yeah, big thank you to them, and thank you to all our competitors competing in our leagues, past, present, and future. Definitely couldn't do it without you guys. Yeah. If you want to send us any messages on Facebook or anything like that after this live stream, please do. We'll be putting out some information tomorrow, which contains the summary document behind the Sim Rally Masters. But otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you when we next do a live stream. The Speed Rally's live on Thursday, which features locations Estonia and Finland within the game. So get signed up to the World Sim Rally Championship and get on the stages for that. So yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Good night.